Benny Hill at his outrageous best tonight at 11 o'clock. Now stay tuned for Burt Lancaster and Dorothy McGuire. They star in Mr. 880, next on the $1 Million Movie.
Find out how incoming presidents quickly learn to deal and make deals with Congress. Read how the ratings race is causing some feathers to fly at one network. Don't miss a special sports report on the trench warfare between the offensive and defensive lines in the Super Bowls. All in the new issue of TV Guide.
The exciting Major Indoor Soccer League.
New York Arrows Soccer on WPIX is brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Chemical Bank, where the chemistry is just right. Member FDIC. And by Betamax, the home videotape recording system that offers Betascan. It lets you see what you've been missing. Betamax from Sony, the one and only. And by Buick. From Riviera and the lean new full-size Buicks to the amazing front-wheel drive Skylark, you'll find very fine cars and very good thinking.
From the Uniondale Coliseum in Nassau County, up out on Long Island, tonight it's the New York Arrows, defending champions of the Major Indoor Soccer League, hosting an expansion team in this league, the St. Louis Steamers. And Kyle, the Steamers have to get on track. They haven't been playing well on the road, but they sure have been drawing crowds at home.
They've been doing a great job of crowds. 19,100 a couple of weeks ago, setting, of course, a new league record. Turned away 2,000 or 3,000 more. And in the last 6 games, they're 3-3. They start out the year 1-6, are playing a lot better as of late. Unfortunately for them, the Arrows are undefeated here at Nassau Coliseum. They're playing ever so well. But one thing about the New York team is they just let up a lot of shots. They let up a lot of goals. They don't have a very good defensive team. They just score more goals than anybody else. And so that's one area that the Arrows are going to have to improve on if they want to try and retain their MISL crown that they had last year. So the St. Louis Steamers have a few injuries, but talking to several players before the game, they think they can beat this New York Arrows team.
Well, this is national telecast being seen also commercially in New York and in St. Louis. And what you're going to see tonight are the New York Arrows. They score a lot of goals, but as Kyle said, they give up a lot of goals. One of the keys is the St. Louis Steamers have to tee off and shoot a lot tonight. We're going to return for all this MISL action when we return to Nassau Coliseum right after this.
This is the 4.1-liter Buick Electra, America's first and only traditional luxury car with a V6 engine, standard. It's very responsive, yet few cars go further on a tank of gas. Still, some might question the wisdom of putting a V6 engine in a full-size luxury car. Well, when you consider that for every one of these, you part with one of these and then some, the logic is crystal clear.
The 4.1-liter Electra. Buy or lease one at your Buick dealer.
This Bud's for every man who works with fire and steel.
This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this Bud's for you.
In New York, every neighborhood, every community, every town has a chemistry all its own. And the Chemical Bank branches there are part of that chemistry. The Chemical Branch managers make sure of that. In Jamaica, that means opening earlier so Long Island Railroad conductors don't miss the boat. East side, west side, all around the town. On Long Island or Westchester, the chemistry's just right at Chemical.
And this is where we keep the Sony.
This is my wife, these are my kids, this is my Sony.
The difference between you and me,
at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The New York Arrows, with a half-game lead over the Philadelphia Fever, split a home-and-home series with third-place Buffalo last week, soundly defeating the Stallions 10-5 in New York on Wednesday, January 9th. Then the Arrows traveled to Buffalo, lost a thriller in overtime, 10-9 on a game we had, also on national television. Crowd of nearly 10,000 at the Odd. Boy, what a game that was. And that was the last game New York played. They're 9-3 and on top of the Atlantic Division. St. Louis 4-9, having not such good success on the road, but drawing tremendous crowds back in St. Louis. You know, Kyle, we look at each team has promotions in their own local area, and at Nassau Coliseum tonight, this is Build America Night. You see a number of the VFW's veterans of the foreign wars. I hope we don't have to have any more of those in the United States anytime soon.
No, but it's always nice to see the red, white, and blue, and we hate to see situations like Iran and Afghanistan, but it's great to see the American people respond and develop a little bit more of the national fervor that has been so much of our history in this country.
Well, the MISL season is not even one half over yet. Steve Jungle staking his claim for a second regular season MVP award. He's playing a grueling 3 games in only 5 nights, and Jungle scored 10 goals, added 5 assists, in aiding the Arrows to victories in 2 of those games. You're going to look at 2 of the more important players in the indoor game, and that's the 2 keepers. The 2 keepers in tonight's game, you see the St. Louis goalkeeper. You see Shep Messing right there. Turin, the St. Louis goaltender, certainly has his work cut out for him tonight. And Shep Messing, who's been playing spectacular in goal for the New York Arrows. Messing, who played exceptionally well in Buffalo last week, Kyle.
Well, you know, Terry, Shep has set records this year already for, or I should say he leads the league in the number of saves, the number of goals allowed, the number of shots faced. So obviously New York, with a record of 9-3, they're allowing a lot of shots on goal, a lot of goals, but they're just outscoring opponents, as we said at the top of the show. Another interesting aspect of this is an interleague rivalry. St. Louis being from the Central Division, the Arrows representing the Atlantic Division, and this year the Central Division leads that series 15 games to 14. So even though the Arrows would seem to be the overwhelming favorite, you can never tell when interleague rivalries like this are being played.
Well, the series between these two, the Arrows defeated Steamers 7-5 on December 23rd for a crowd of 12,137 in St. Louis. It was Segoda's first hat trick of the season, so watch him, number 20 tonight, Broncos Segoda. Play starts, as you see, Steamers in their visiting uniforms in the nice blue trim. Steamers will be moving right to left. New York Arrows home team in their beautiful blue and red jerseys. Arrows in control. That's Steve Jungle. Jungle shot right on, and immediately the Arrows are pressuring St. Louis. Steamers cleared out of their own end. There's Danny Counts, assistant coach. Counts back to Bellinger. Bellinger in the race with Segoda. Number 20, Segoda for New York. Steamers gained control. This is St. Louis's Steve Petcher. Lays it up left wing. 13, Pesa. Pesa gives it in the midfield. Hands it away. That's Steve Jungle. Jungle for New York, right wing. Chilla's pass intercepted beautifully in the midfield. Dorico and Counts collide. Pesa, long run, put the ball way too far out in front of him. As a result, loses control down in a corner.
Pesa's had some injuries this year, and this is the first time he had a groin injury and also a little hamstring. Apparently now he's on the ground holding his knee. Former All-American from Ulster Community College.
You see him down on the ground right now. Pesa. He's a Dallas Tornado player. Big acquisition by Al Miller, former friend of yours, right, Tom?
No, he's still a friend. He's just a former coach of mine.
That was a big acquisition, though, Pesa, for him, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Klenko on the free kick, hands it off left wing. Danny Counts for St. Louis, no score. We're at Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. That's on Long Island. It's about 45 minutes from the city when there's no traffic, and that is never. Pesa for St. Louis. Gives it inside. Counts moved one way. Pass went the other way. Loose ball. Dorico comes back. Tempo of the game so far, considerably much slower than what we saw the opening quarter last week from the Odd and Buffalo, when those two teams just got right after each other. These guys trying to feel each other out a little bit. They've only played each other one other time. That was in St. Louis. Steamers lost that game 7-5. You see the contact with Segota and Bellinger against the board. Pushing on the violation. Direct free kick for New York.
Segota, we might mention, is still second in the league in the number of penalty minutes, which, as we said in earlier shows, is unusual for a forward. He's had 2 6-goal games this year.
This is Pesa for the Steamers. Look at Satevsky come back for New York. Satevsky gives it back to number 1, Messing. Messing, right wing, Chilla inside. That's Jungle across the midfield stripe, left wing. Damir Satevsky. Satevsky, Segota tries to make the move. Bellinger all over him. Apparently, St. Louis marking one-on-one tonight. Jungle being marked by Petcher, and Bellinger marking Segota, number 20 of New York. That's Bellinger with the ball. Hugh Craney goes to the ground. Craney played for this New York Arrows team last year. Damir Satevsky, nice pass inside. Segota, left foot, shot, he scores. Broncos Segota took an excellent pass inside, and Segota got behind the defender, and the keeper never had a chance. Number 20, Broncos Segota of New York.
Here we'll see it on replay. There you see it.
That's an unusual move.
The ball was chipped in and played in front. You see that in the outdoor game quite often. Backspin being put on the initial chip and beating Bellinger, who really had pretty good position. Just Segota is a great finisher, and that's the reason that he is the second leading scorer in this Atlantic Division.
So New York on top of St. Louis 1-0 early in the first quarter, 2 minutes 32 seconds into it.
That's Segota's 29th goal, which ties him with Jungle for the leadership for goals in the Atlantic Division.
And we should really relate that, just how impressive that really is. Here's Julie V, number 10 for New York. He's battling down low, rebound out front. Boy, Luis Alberto had a great shot for New York, and Turin got down, as you're right down in the field with the players. Julie V. V loses control. Look at that pass. Tibor Molnar, ball's loose out front. Molnar shot blocked. Great action right in front of the goal mouth. This is Molnar's shot, rebound, hit the top of the crossbar. Strenitzer. Inside, look at New York, apply the pressure. Finally, Carl Rose. Another former member of the New York Arrows, number 2 for St. Louis, Carl Rose. Turin gives it away in the midfield, Strenitzer. Right wing pass. There's Luis Alberto. You see Turin get the foot on it.
There's a save by Paul Turin.
Strenitzer down on the ground. Danny Counts. Luis Alberto, number 8 for New York, comes away with the ball. That's Molnar. Ty Keogh. This is Counts. Counts to Pesa. Pesa in the midfield. Pesa settles, lays it out, left wing. This is Danny Counts. Counts, assistant coach. Played in Philadelphia last year, uses the boards well, sends it off the boards, nobody home. Ty Keogh for St. Louis. Steamers trailing 1-0, 10 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in this, the first quarter. Keogh comes back. Ty Keogh has been out for a couple of games.
Keogh still has a little muscle strain at the insert of his thigh muscle, which is extremely difficult to isolate and to get well, because you just can't ever stop walking or running. So first game that he's, I guess, played in the last 4, and I guess Coach Pat McBride just felt he wanted to see what he could do with it, even though it's going to give him a lot of pain tonight for sure.
There's Keogh. He steps in front of Tibor Molnar. Molnar gives it back. Strenitzer. And you know, Kyle, I said something about Ty Keogh's injury and was reminded by a number of folks, including Harry Keogh, his father, coach at St. Louis University, that injury has been persistent to Ty ever since he can remember him playing collegiate soccer. This is Luis Alberto. It's blocked by Carl Rose, and as you saw in the background, Paul Turin, the keeper for St. Louis, down on the ground. He was anticipating that shot all the way. Carl Rose gives it away inside. Rose picked up, and then battle of the ball goes up over the side. Tony Graham, number 11, another welcome addition back to the St. Louis Steamers. You saw the free kick just go wide. Manny Cuenca now for St. Louis picks the ball up. Tony Graham and Ty Keogh both back in the lineup. Steamers playing with a lot of injuries. Torn on the ground, loose ball. A header by Julie V. And a nice play right out front. St. Louis falling back nicely. Strenitzer open net shot. Counts, breaking out of his own zone. Emilio Romero.
We saw Julie V score a great goal last week with the back of his heel, similar to the shot he just took for the Arrows there. Didn't go in this time, though.
Manny Cuenca teeing off. Lost. Here come the Arrows. Arrows, this is tough on St. Louis. They got a 3-on-2. Segota shot blocked by Manny Cuenca. Nice play by Cuenca. Romero controlling. Val Tuccia. Tuccia back, pushing. Referee calls pushing. It'll be a free kick for St. Louis.
Had a chance to visit with some of the referees who are up here from the National Soccer Coaches Convention in Philadelphia going on right now, and they wanted to make sure that we let our listeners know, anyone that ever wants to referee, just contact your local United States Soccer Federation official, because with the tremendous boom in soccer growth, that's one of the areas that we really lack numbers in, and that's referees. So if you have any desire, get out and help young people learn about soccer through refereeing.
There's a breakaway. Satevsky. Turin comes way out of goal. I'm surprised at the abuse that some of these referees take in the indoor game. They don't have a 800 number to call. Here come the Arrows again. This is Jungle, left wing. Jungle beats Petcher, hustling back. Nice play by St. Louis. Petcher gives it away to Jungle again. Romero had hustled all the way back. This is Jungle. Whistle, holding violation.
Called on Steve Petcher. Petcher trying to cut the ball back, and Jungle just standing right there. There's a good defensive play.
This guy right here, Hugh Craney, who just laid the pass out on a left wing, can really play the indoor game. It's a great acquisition for the St. Louis club. Look at Petcher. He beats Jungle to the ball. That's what you have to do. Shep Messing, goalkeeper. We have an interview with Messing and Danny Counts at halftime. Stick around. 4 15-minute quarters. 7:40 remaining in the first quarter. Arrows on top of the Steamers, 1-0. Satevsky gives it right wing. Segota tries to run over Bellinger. That's one thing about Segota. The ball's, if you're between he and the ball, he will go right over you to get to the ball. St. Louis has a break. This is Danny Counts. Counts on a half volley, fakes the shot. Now using the boards, and Tony Graham just couldn't get there. Boy, great opportunity right there, and here come the Arrows. This is where they're dangerous. Look at Segota on the run. Bellinger hustling back. Turin save.
Action starting to open up a little bit more.
No doubt about it. Dorico in the midfield.
St. Louis with a 3-on-2 fast break if they can move down quickly.
Here they are again, and another great play by Satevsky. The referee helps St. Louis out a bit. Finally, Counts settles. They're not able to capitalize, Kyle, on their 3-on-2 break, St. Louis.
No, and we should mention that when the ball hits the referee tonight, our referee is Hans Schwenk, number 14. It's as if the referee's considered a board or just a part of the field.
The score was 6:30 remaining in the first quarter. New York on top of St. Louis, 1-0. The goal by Segota. Shot just wide of Messing. Nice play by Tony Graham. Graham to Danny Counts. Counts around, using the boards well. And the reason you see the rebound go up, look at the plexiglass. The insert along the plexiglass, the dasher boards, there's about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch variance where the dasher boards and where the plexiglass start. And a lot of times the ball will hit that fringe and go straight up in the air.
That's part of the home team advantage for the Arrows. That recession in the boards is something that we don't see in a lot of other arenas.
This is Manny Cuenca, lays it off left wing. Ty Keogh gives it back down to Cuenca for St. Louis. Number 7, Cuenca for the Steamers, being battled by Al Trost, another St. Louis boy. You saw Paces step in. Al Trost, number 12 for the Arrows, is from St. Louis, knows a lot of these Steamer players. This is Steve Jungle. He's not from St. Louis. He's from Yugoslavia. Strenicher for New York, number 13 with the ball. Almost to the beat of the music, gives it down on right wing. Renato Chilla. There's Jungle with a header, gives it right out front. And Petcher with a beautiful play clears it out of the goal box.
Great play by Petcher, going off his man to cover for the goalkeeper.
Here come the Arrows down low, battling.
That's a skill our young players watching at home should remember, that anytime the goalkeeper goes out of that net area, if you're a defender, you have to go back and cover for him, because situations like the one that Steve Petcher just eliminated for the St. Louis team will make you an invaluable member of your team if you can remember to do that. And when coaches tell their players to concentrate in defense, that's one of the items that they want them to concentrate on.
Indirect free kick, puts the ball back into play. There is Pesa. Al Trost. Trost for St. Louis. Trost coming around, shot just wide, and a save by Turin. And these Steamers coming here to Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, and the Nassau Coliseum home also the New York Islanders, the Nassau Veterans Coliseum. And that's what we saw at the top of the show, Kyle. A lot of the veterans out here. This Coliseum is named after those veterans. Those veterans here at American Day at Nassau.
Thank you.
Ball thrown back into play, put into play by the Arrows. Arrows on top, 1-0. This is Strenitzer. Lays it back. Arrows in control, 1-0, 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Right out front, Jungle, but a nice defensive play. And one thing, Kyle, is the Steamers are falling back, playing a good defense, but you can't really get into that kind of posture with the Arrows.
No, you can't. Not as many goals as they score. Really, the only way that teams have been able to defeat the Arrows is to stay within a goal or two and try and outscore them, because the Arrows are going to let up a lot of goals. They push a lot of people forward.
Free kick puts the ball back into play. Arrows still control. Coming down.
Welcome WPIX TV, Channel 11 to the Nassau Coliseum this evening.
Ball in the midfield. Steve Jungle. Jungle goes down on the ground. You see Petcher come up with a ball for the Steamers. Play right in the midfield. Nice shot. There's Petcher crossing pass over to Hugh Craney.
Jungle is still down on the ground. He's limping on that knee. That's something the Arrows can't afford to lose.
Down goes Strenitzer. I don't know what happened. He looked like he caught the ball. He ran into Romero, and the two of them collided. Romero holds his head. Strenitzer down on the ground. Finally, the referee blows his whistles. 3:31 remaining in the first quarter. The score, the New York Arrows 1, the St. Louis Steamers 0. We'll be back in just a moment. Did you see that play, Kyle?
Just out of the corner of my eye. Apparently, after the ball left the area, Strenitzer ran into Romero, and it was an unintentional foul. But often, when you're watching the ball, you can hit a hard head, and apparently, Sheen's face hit Romero's hard head, and he's still down.
Romero's hard head. Kyle wrote. There's Strenitzer going off the field. Let me apologize for you, Kyle, because I know your throat. You've caught what is going over the entire East Coast, including this Nassau Veterans Coliseum. That is a flu, and the flu has really been knocking people down up here all over. So, Kyle, welcome to the East Coast once again, and believe me, you're not the only one affected by that.
Well, I just apologize to our listeners. This is not either one of our normal voices.
They might be fortunate with that. You see the drop kick puts the ball back into play. That's Dorico, jungle number 7 for New York. Arrows on top, 1-0, 3:20 remaining. Messing leading the MISL 1-loss percentage. He has an 8-3 record. The reason he doesn't have the Arrows' other victory, relatively simple. Enzo DePede was in goal. That was a nice little push by Emilio Romero. It was very evident there, Kyle, but really there's a lot of contact in the indoor game. Not contact physical, almost to a point of trying to be physical, as you see the shot by Jungle, but the players run into each other on a confined territory like this.
And they do. You're right. It's not intentional for the most part, though we have seen occasions where it is. But in soccer, we generally say that contact is incidental. It's not the purpose of the game. And with it being incidental and players therefore not wearing any pads, can often have some pretty severe injuries, particularly with the boards.
2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Steamers, trying to apply pressure, have not really taken very many potent shots on Messing, yet they have had a couple of opportunities. The Arrows, on the other hand, have had numerous opportunities in the first quarter and have yet only scored 1 goal. That goal by Segota. Segota, who has 2 6-goal games and 3 hat-trick games. Wow, double hat-trick 3 times. One of those last week in Buffalo. This is counts for the Steamers. Tony Graham overruns the ball. He's a left-footed shot. He takes the shot. It's blocked by Dorico. Big Dave Dorico for New York. Inside. Winds it up. Shot. Look at Dorico. Great player, Dave Dorico, number 2 of New York. It's a great addition as he played for Cincinnati last year in the MISL.
And he seems to have controlled his tendency to get in penalty situations, which last year he caused a lot of penalties for Cincinnati. And you just can't afford, particularly the way teams like Houston take the man advantage situations. Unfortunately for St. Louis, they don't do as well. They rank last in the league in man advantage situations.
There's Manny Cuenca down low. Cuenca gave it off the board. There was a shot a minute ago on your screens, folks, when you saw Ty Keogh, number 10, dribbling the ball, and he never once looked down at the ball as it was at his feet the whole time. That is a true skill by any soccer player. This man right here, number 8, Luis Alberto, has plenty of skill for New York. Arrows ahead, 1-0, time running down just under a minute. Messing comes up big on the save. Under a minute remaining as you look at Luis Alberto for New York. Alberto lays it left wing. Petcher intercepts a pass intended for Jungle. Petcher doing a nice job. Now Jungle moves out. Wide open shot. What a shot by Jungle. He gets his own rebound. Tuksha for New York gives it to Luis Alberto. There's Dorico again. Look at Dorico. He's got a great left foot. There it is off the boards. Nobody out front. Finally, Ukraini. Val Tuksha takes the shot. Jungle. Dorico fakes the left foot. Time running down. 20 seconds remaining. Dorico goes to the ground. He's in the corner. He's all right. Luis Alberto battling at the midfield. Craney back for St. Louis. 10 seconds remaining. Dorico just brings the ball back. Long pass by Tibor Molnar. Intercepted. Play right out in the midfield. Manny Cuenca settled it as the clock runs down. You'll hear the horn. We've played 1 full quarter here at the Nassau Veterans Coliseum. The score, the New York Arrows 1, the St. Louis Steamers 0. Just a reminder to all you fans watching on WPIX here in New York. Next game, same as always, every Friday night at 8 o'clock right here on WPIX. We invite you to call the Arrows for our ticket information and information about their upcoming games. You could call NYARROW 516 area code. With the score, the New York Arrows 1, the St. Louis Steamers 0. We'll be back with second quarter action right after this.
If you're looking for a full-size car in this stormy economic climate, consider a Buick LeSabre. It helps insulate you from chilling gas prices with impressive full-size car mileage.
And comforts you by showing the highest resale value of any full-size car over the last 2 years.
with a luxurious interior in which to forget the cold, cruel world. Buick LeSabre, I tell you, things look a lot brighter from in here.
LeSabre. Buy or lease one at your Buick dealers.
To everybody who puts in a hard day's work, this Bud's for you.
This Bud's for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. So here's to you. You know it isn't only what you say, it's what you do. This Bud's for you. This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
Hey, this Bud's for you.
Ooh la la, ça soon. Ooh la la, ça soon.
And again, I would like to offer this apology that this is the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and the reason we want to extend that is because there are plenty of veterans on hand tonight. This is their night here at their Coliseum in Long Island in Uniondale.
And I'm sure there are many of us who have lost family in various wars. Certainly my dad, former player with the New York Giants, his brother was lost in the Second World War, and we'd like to remember him at this time, and many of the other members of the families who gave so much so that we could enjoy the many benefits of this country.
This is a great facility in Uniondale, and the Islanders have had great success here, and the Arrows are certainly building for themselves, Kyle, a great following. The youngsters and the youth groups out here in Long Island are really amazing, and those groups, you know, are starting to pay off as the Arrows built a facility right next to here, a permanent indoor facility. All summer long they ran clinics and the Arrows players available, and that's the kind of stuff it takes.
Well, it's great. It's reflected in the average attendance this year, which is up over 1,000 from last year, and the Arrows are playing just as successfully as they did last year.
You see the Arrows, they're moving left to right. The Steamers, Turin in goal for St. Louis, Messing in goal for New York. You see the Arrows will be moving left to right. Steamers, Carl Rose, number 2 right there. Nice uniforms the Steamers have. They're moving right to left. I'm getting that confused. All right, the Arrows are going left hand over here. They're going left to right as you watch the game. Steamers going right to left. That's the Arrows. That's Laszlo Arshani. Arshani down low. Segota score 1-0. New York on top of St. Louis.
We've got 2 players that are on this New York Arrow team that defected from Hungary. Julie V, who's on the field, and Laszlo Arshani, who's also on the field. There you see him stealing the ball.
Arshani was a great player, wasn't he, Kyle, in his...
Yes, they were, and V also played for the national youth team of Hungary and defected on one of their tours, as did Arshani, who played for the national team of Hungary.
Manny Cuenca. Cuenca for St. Louis, cross the midfield stripe. Cuenca lays it down low. This is Ty Keogh. Keogh right out front. And you saw Messing lose control as one of the St. Louis Steamers, Emilio Romero, stuck his hand inside Messing. You're watching the Major Indoor Soccer League, defending champion New York Arrows. Arrows on top, St. Louis Steamers 1-0. Steamers, an expansion franchise. Julie V. Segota shot, he scores. Bronco Segota's second goal of the night, the Arrows' second goal. And number 20 for New York, Segota continues his dominance in this indoor game. Watching it.
Here we'll see it on a replay. A beautiful pass from Arshani. V drawing the defender and the goalkeeper over. Segota side foots it. That's a difficult shot to keep low to score his 30th goal of the year. He's now leading teammate Jungle in the goal scorers race. Jungle with 29, Segota now with 30.
Now you say that's a tough goal to keep low. When he hits that shot, what's he do?
Well, he's got to try and keep his knee over the ball. Most players, and including yours truly, have put the ball well up over the goal many times, and you see such a wide open goal that you're trying to hurry to put it in, and often you get your foot too much under the ball and put it up over the top. So puts the Arrows up 2-0 over the St. Louis Steamers. Segota's second goal of the night.
Terry Lewicki along with Kyle Rowe Jr., at least a portion of Kyle. He left his voice in Houston. Emilio Romero takes the shot. Val Tuchia for New York has to hustle back. See Tibor Molnar. One thing you'll notice about the Arrows tonight, their confidence with the ball. When pressure comes their way, they don't give the ball up immediately. They maintain control. You see Segota, that's Val Tuchia. Tuchia gives it to Segota. Look at that nice give and go. Arrows in their home here in New York play very well. This is Emilio Romero's shot. Tony Graham looking for the rebound, gets decked by Tibor Molnar, who was standing flat afoot.
A good example there, Terry, of St. Louis's inefficiency, and actually it's just really inexperience. It's not that they're not trying, but New York having an extra year of experience. When they hit it off the wall there's always somebody there in the box. And that case, St. Louis playing it off the wall in the corner into the middle area, a good pass off the boards, but no one was coming. And it just takes time to develop that skill indoors.
Did you see Messing a minute ago? Distributed the ball through his legs.
Adding insult to injury, huh?
We're going to talk to Messing at halftime. You see the Arrows in control in the midfield. They're on top 2-0. Arrows also on top of their division. They are leading. They are the defending champions in this league.
They've been averaging close to 11 goals a game last 5 or 6 games. So we should see, particularly with St. Louis not defending as well on penalty situations, several goals by New York tonight.
Here's Tibor Molnar. That's exactly what Kyle Rote just talked to you fans about, and that is the ability to extend your knee over the ball to keep the ball low. And right there, they just sent it up over the topper of the St. Louis keeper, Paul Torin.
That's probably why Segota has 30 goals this year. And,
very interesting. They just announced here that Bronco Segota's second goal tonight, that being the Arrows' 2 goals. Segota takes the league lead in points now in the MISL. 12 of these St. Louis Steamer players from St. Louis. Here come the Steamers inside, battling down low. Strenicher fights his way back. Pesa was inside. Pesa still limping on that ankle, and the Steamers are not at full strength. Look at the running room for Luis Alberto, all the way in. Shot saved by Torin. The only thing we're lucky for Torin is he saw him coming all the way. Alberto ran and from inside his own red line, clean across the midfield stripe, all the way in to take that shot.
For our young goalkeepers, you might notice the turn came out of the box, and the reason he did that was to cut down the angle, similar to what an ice hockey goalkeeper will do, or a netminder will do. I have to get the right name.
They are all goaltenders of one form or fashion. Indirect free kick indicated by the referee's left hand up in the air. You see the Steamers of St. Louis. Pesa shot. Wow, he hit that ball. Pesa, it's too bad it didn't get near Messing. Here comes Jungle for New York. Look at Julie V on the run out front. Stepping in front. Finally, Sam Bick clears the ball. What a great run by Julie V, all the way running stride for stride with Jungle. This is Bick for the Steamers. To Hugh Craney. Craney gives it down low to Pesa, and you can see Pesa right there, not making a full run, still nurturing that bad ankle of his.
And he's had a persistent groin problem as well.
See New York on top of St. Louis, 2-0. We're in the second quarter. Kyle, it's the first time I've ever seen you do a game with your oral hygiene parked in front of you here. Have you had a chance to use that tonight?
I haven't yet, but I'm about to.
Julie V gives it inside. There's Luis Alberto. Had to be all the way inside the net when he hit the ball. It'll be interesting to see who they give that goal to.
Well, if you're being paid on the number of goals that you score, which it's possible that Jungle may be, you get pretty angry at your teammate when he takes a goal away from you. Here we see a great pass. Jungle just touching it past the goalkeeper. It certainly would have gone in on its own. And it looks like they're going to have to give credit to
Luis
Alberto, but they put Jungle's face up on the scoreboard, so we'll see when the...
We'll see who's better friends with the official scorer right here. They're still talking about it. 7 Jungle, number 8 under his arm. That's Luis Alberto. A real surprise player, Luis Alberto. If you follow soccer, you never hear his name until he came indoors. Yes, they did. They gave it to Luis Alberto, number 8 of New York. The assist to Jungle. Time of the goal, 5:09. So with 9:51 remaining in this, the second quarter, the New York Arrows showing dominance early. Let me take you back a week, though, to Friday night. Arrows were on top of Buffalo 2-0 early, and then boom, Buffalo scored 3 unanswered goals. But the way you do it, Steamers, apply some pressure, take some shots. This is Pesa. Pesa can do it for St. Louis. He leaves it. Ty Keogh. Keogh gives it away inside. Al Trost, St. Louis boy playing for New York.
Interestingly enough, St. Louis has not had any problems getting shots the last 3 games they've been in. As New York's on the attack again, they had 78 shots, 80 and 85 shots in the last 3 games. But as we've seen here tonight, a lot of it is the quality of shooting, and that just comes with experience. It's not that the St. Louis players are bad players by any means, but because they've got some great players. But indoors, it's just such a different game that you have to change some of your instincts if you've been an outdoor player, which most of the St. Louis players have been.
Kyle, you made a point last week. I finally saw the game on tape, and that was that the Arrows last year took an equal number of shots that they are this year, even though more players have scored. The difference is that this year they're defensively not giving as many shots to the opposition as they did last year.
No, they're still giving up a lot of goals, but compared with last year, defensively they've made some changes, getting players like Julie V and Harshani in. The quality means that defensively they're going to be able to play a lot better.
Use your oral hygienic spray there, would you please, Kyle? Your voice is going quickly. We might not even have you in the second half. Shot off the boards. You see Messing, there's a chance right out front. Finally, Trost for New York has to clear it. That's 7 Jungle. Gives it back. Renato Chilla lays it left wing pass to Dave DeRico. The Arrows crossing into their own zone. This is Steve Jungle. Jungle gives it inside. Trost, nice pass. Jungle shot, rebound. Turin just got a hand on it. And oh, the Arrows could have been up by 4 goals.
And that's precisely the type of teamwork and indoor play that is what makes New York so devastating. They don't waste their shots at all. Almost all their shots are in the goal area, or they're causing problems for the defensive team.
Good point. Pesa gives it down. There's a nice pass. Tony Graham, ouch. Graham has to get hurt on a play like that. You see him, Tony Graham, number 11 for St. Louis. He ran right smack into Val Tuksha. Finally, the referee whistles it. Graham up quickly now. Everybody back full strength. Penalty-free game so far. Both teams playing their game in the midfield. Nice clean shots. Messing to the ground. Messing up with the rebound. And they haven't really gotten into each other very much, Kyle. Not a lot of physical contact in the game, and they've kept it pretty clean and open in the midfield areas.
No, they haven't. Unfortunately for St. Louis, they've done so poorly this year in penalty killing. They've only killed 25% of their penalties. New York, on the other hand, again with the more experience.
One hop up over the plexiglass. You see the nice crowd on hand. Ball leaving the playing field, right back into the playing surface. Free kick is awarded. Steamers in control. Petcher on right wing. Here come the Steamers. Nice pass right off the plexiglass. Right down low. There's Pesa. 2 shots by Pesa right out front.
Great play by.
They made saves, Kyle.
Well, once again, Dave DeRico taking a book from what Steve Petcher did earlier in the first quarter to protect Turin. DeRico, as Messing came out, goes into the goal, and Pesa, with 2 point-blank shots, has them both knocked down by defenders.
Val Tuksha with the left foot. New York in control in the midfield area. Look at Jungle. Look at the ball control from Jungle. What a brilliant player he is for New York. Segota gives it right back. Jungle runs over Petcher. Petcher grabs hold of him, takes it to the ground. This is Schuler for the Steamers. Schuler, left foot off the boards. Tuksha for New York steps in and intercepts the pass. Now look at the defender. Val Tuksha comes all the way into the offensive play, still there. Tuksha now has to hustle back as St. Louis. Now look how far the defender's up. Here's a chance. Pesa running out. Look at Messing, diving save by Shep Messing. And Pesa just couldn't leg it out to get to that ball. Here's DeRico. Turin has him cut off. This is DeRico again right out front. There's Segota. Hat trick for Bronco Segota. Bronco Segota, who took the lead with his second goal of the evening in the scoring race in the MISL, scores his third goal of the first half.
There's DeRico in the corner, getting around the defender, pulls it back. Segota, you would think that in that part of the field, someone would have to be on him. Obviously, a defensive lapse as 3 St. Louis players standing in the area, but not one of them right on Segota. And for that young man, 19 years old, such a great score. That's a mental lapse on the St. Louis Steamers team.
And Kyle, we might point out right here that the way that Segota gathered the ball in from the pass is why the guy scores so many goals. He's able to control the ball in a lot of areas like that. Was a hard pass from DeRico.
It was a hard pass, and it looked as if he almost trapped the ball with his toe. He was wedging the ball between his toe and the ground. But as we mentioned last week, one of Segota's great skills is the ability to get off a shot so quickly. He doesn't have a big windup, and because of that, goalkeepers don't have time to get set up.
St. Louis changing on a fly. Satevsky! Damir Satevsky for New York. As the Arrows are pouring it on now. Satevsky, number 22, and watch. This is why the Arrows are so strong. So many guys can score. Look at his hand in the air.
Julie V going to play the ball off the boards here. It comes back out to Satevsky. Left foot, his 11th goal of the year for Damir Satevsky, making it the New York Arrows 5, and the St. Louis Steamers still yet to get on the scoreboard.
Well, you know, Kyle, Carl Rose, as you look at Satevsky, let the ball slide right through the goal mouth, right out front, and didn't capture it.
No, it's you're trying to draw defenders, and in this case, he drew 2 defenders with him, leaving Satevsky open. I don't know that he necessarily knew where Satevsky was, but that is pretty much a standard play. Whenever you get the chance to draw defenders, get them away from the center of the goal, which he did.
Well, you see some of the banners here at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Nassau County. New York Arrows on top 5-0, as the Steamers have yet to get on the scoreboard. Arrows tough at home. Boy, they're undefeated here. They have also, as I pointed out last week, Kyle, scored 10 or more goals in every home game that they have played in. That's why the Steamers can't come out and play defensively. You got to put some goals on, try and match these guys. Rose takes the shot. And there again, Kyle, is that same example of getting out over the ball and perching so that you keep the ball low.
Well, most players, and I have to include myself in this, is that your girlfriend, Terry?
No, she's behind you, Kyle. She just threw something at me.
But most players, when you get in that situation, as we just saw that shot go over the top, you're looking up to see where the goalkeeper is. You're looking up to see the ball go in the top of the net. And players like Segota and Jungle and your top goal scorers in the league, they know where the goal is, and they know they're going to be able to see it on replay if it goes in the net. So they concentrate on keeping their knee over the ball, keeping their body over the ball, and they keep the shot low. So another thing for our young soccer players to learn when you're shooting, even in the outdoor game, the goal is only 8 feet tall. You got to keep it low to be able to put it in the net.
The real spark plug for this St. Louis Steamers team has been Manny Kawinka. Kawinka, number 7 on the field for the Steamers in the midfield. Watch him. He can get things ignited. This is Molnar for New York. Carl Rose comes back. Rose to Turin. Turin left wing distribution. You see right there, Danny Counts. That's why it's important, Kyle, that the keeper really watch the ball. There's Keogh teeing off, and it's blocked out front. But when the keeper distributes the ball, it's a very important part of the game.
And much more so in indoor than even in outdoor. We normally think of the goalkeeper as the prime defensive player, but even in outdoor as well as indoor, he really initiates the attack. He sets the pace. He decides whether or not he's going to roll it out or throw it out or punt it out. So all your goalkeepers, your critical attacking players.
Number 2, Carl Rose of the St. Louis Steamers. He played here in New York for the Arrows last year when they won the MISL championship. You see, Messing sends it up in over the plexiglass. It'll be a free kick for St. Louis.
St. Louis wanting a 2-minute penalty for delay of game, but referee Hans Schwink not giving it.
Here's a rebound shot around. Messing handles the ball easily. Drops it. You'll meet 2 of the MISL players as you look at the score. New York on top of St. Louis 5-0. 2 of the fine players playing tonight. First, Shep Messing, number 1, the keeper of the New York Arrows, and then Danny Counts, number 9, assistant coach and player for the St. Louis Steamers. Satevsky to Hershani. Hershani gives it to Julie V. And the unselfish play of this New York Arrows team is really magnificent. Julie V in control, gives it inside Tibor Molnar. Molnar blocked by Carl Rose.
Don't want to take anything away from the New York team by any means, and you're right, they're very selfless players. But one reason, I think, is with the MISL scoring system, you get the same number of points and giving an assist as you do scoring a goal. So when you can get a good assist, you're going to get 1 point, which is the same number that you get for a goal. For an outdoor soccer, you get 2 points for a goal and just 1 for an assist, so players tend to be a little bit more selfish. I think it's a good... Oh, what a great shot.
What a shot by Dalmir Satevsky. Wow, he hit that ball, folks, on the half volley from a pass from the opposite wing. Holy mackerel, watch this. See his hand in the air, he's open.
See Julie V calling for it. Satevsky hitting it with the outside of his foot. Second time he's put up his hand. Second time he's gotten the ball. That's Satevsky's 12th goal of the year.
Now, Kyle, when you take a pass like that in full stride and hit the ball as he's running, most tendencies stop the ball, settle it, and then take the shot.
Well, it just shows you why he's a very skillful player and is considered a skillful player. He was part of the Toronto team that won the Outdoor League in 1975, and Satevsky hitting the ball really with the outside of the foot, trying to keep it low. It's a little bit easier to keep a ball low with the outside of your foot. So when we think of young players passing the ball with the inside of their foot in those kinds of situations, you might think about hitting it with your instep, which is where the shoelaces are on your foot, or the outside of the foot, because it helps keep the ball lower. So it also imparts some spin on the ball, because we couldn't see it with that camera angle, but the ball was bending away from the goalkeeper.
Satevsky, or excuse me, Segota, number 20 for New York, launches a shot. The rebound way beyond anybody, and look at the Steamers. Hustling back. Messing lays it out. Minute 35 seconds remaining in this, the second quarter. You see Jungle. Jungle for New York. Round 1 man inside, Steve Jungle. Jungle in control, gives it there to Renato Chilla. Ouch.
Good call for tripping. We'll have a direct free kick for New York. St. Louis will have to be, or should be, I should say, 10 feet from the ball. They're not always that far away, but according to the rules, they're supposed to be.
We love you, Bronco. I'll guarantee you Torin, the keeper for St. Louis, didn't hang that banner tonight. Bronco Segota to Jungle. Jungle. Nice play by Bellinger. Good touch inside. Here come the Steamers breaking out. Steamers got a 3-on-1 break. St. Louis, nice pass. Here's Calico, shot, he scores. The Steamers broke out beautifully out of their own end and finally get on the scoreboard with only 1 minute 4 seconds as Pete Calico. Watch it again, Kyle.
There we see 3-on-2, typical basketball 3-on-2 fast break, but generally the ball comes back in the middle. Calico with a bad angle still draws the goalkeeper out, Shep Messing, and beats him to the far side with a high shot. Messing diving low to try to cut off the angle and most of the goal. That's a great shot by Pete Calico.
With the score, the Arrows 6, Steamers 1, minute 4 remaining in the second quarter. We'll be back with more. Arrows now ahead 6-1. Here's Segoda's shot. Oh, he just goes wide of the goalpost. Here's Tony Graham again. One of the problems is if the Arrows attack, they're leaving themselves vulnerable if St. Louis can break out of their own zone. Jungle shot, rebound. Finally, Turin clears on the left wing. Here's Pesa. Here they come again. Watch it. Pesa, nice pass. Oh, Tony Graham misfires. Graham finally settles. Boy, that was a nice play. St. Louis again with a chance. Only 25 seconds remaining on the clock. Tony Graham taken down by Segoda. It'll be a free kick.
Tripping violation on New York. Direct free kick.
Messing, does Messing speak? He didn't like the way Pesa just drop kicked the ball. It hit one of the Arrow players, number 4, Renato Chilla, right in the chin.
Oh, we've often said, even though Messing, he ranks 5th in the statistics as far as goalkeeping stats in terms of the goals that he's given up this year, but he is much more than just a great player. He's a great leader, and part of that is coming out and defending your teammates. Messing last year set all sorts of records for goalkeeper penalty minutes, and it looks like he's on his way in.
He asked me tonight why you said that.
Well, he did. It's in the record books. What can I say? But part of that really is he's so verbal, and he supports his teammates, and that's one reason they respect him.
Look at these guys kicking each other. I love that. Renato Chilla gave a little love tap. There's a free kick off the free kick. Petcher sends it up out over the top of the seats.
Petcher, a defender. That's a great goal kick. In outdoor soccer, you're trying to kick the ball 50 or 60 yards, but in indoor, trying to keep it a little bit lower.
The key is not to hit the ball as hard as you can every time, right?
No, the old saying is it doesn't matter, making a difference how it goes in, as long as it goes in. And even though you might not appear in the highlight film of the year, it's very possible for you to do some great service for your team by scoring goals just by tapping them in.
Time running down, 5 seconds, 4. Horn's going to go off and end the first half. It's been a totally dominated half by the New York Arrows. They are on top of the St. Louis Steamers 6-1. We'll be back with halftime activities right after this.
The New York Arrows would like to wish a very happy birthday to Reed and
Yeah.
And I know who that defender is, and I think that he could cut down the player on the ball, then I'll anticipate a pass.
The St. Louis Steamers missed having Brian in their halftime locker room situation, where maybe they could have learned a little bit more how to play in an arena this size. New York with the ball over to DeRico. Passes for Jungle. Bad pass.
How's your voice? You coming back strong on us, Kyle? Did you get a little halftime activity there?
A little brief halftime respite. I hope I can last. If we go in overtime, Terry, I'll be in trouble.
Terry Lewicki along with Kyle Rote Jr. Loose ball out front. Holy mackerel. Turin, who lost control, or excuse me, there's been a change in the goaltending down there. Segoda came out, and it was Robeson. Bob Robeson, who just came in for St. Louis. And I just noticed that, Kyle. But look, he mishandles the ball first play.
Well, you're always worried initially in the start of a half. Anytime you bring in a new goalkeeper, you'll notice that many teams often will take the first half kickoff or the second half kickoff, particularly when they have a new goalkeeper, play the ball immediately straight back to the goalkeeper so he can make his first save a pretty easy one, get a feel of what the ball is like and feel that he gets into the game. Unfortunately, Robeson didn't have the chance, and his first time he had to handle a hard shot, and it popped up, and Segoda, as he often does, taking advantage of any situation he can get, scoring his 4th goal of the night, which will be his 32nd of the year.
Wow, can that guy play? Broncos Segoda, number 20 for New York. Shatevsky, number 22, tried to get it off on the left wing. Arrows in control, 7-1.
St. Louis with a 3-on-2.
Petcher shot right out front. Messing, great save. Shep Messing. Emilio Romero standing right out front for St. Louis. couldn't put the ball by Shep Messing.
That's a good sign for St. Louis, taking advantage of that situation. Here they go again. If Jungle doesn't get back, it's 3-on-2 again.
Well, again, as these teams break out in their own end, you see right out in front, this is Pesa. Undoubtedly, Coach Pat McBride for St. Louis said just tee off on Messing. The only way we're going to score is with shots. That's Molnar. Robeson in for St. Louis. They're just making that announcement. We caught it early because Robeson mishandled the ball. I didn't even see him get a warm-up, Kyle. That's bad.
No, he didn't. And as we said, as you were getting back over here after you finished your interview, I was mentioning that a lot of times teams will just pass the ball right back to the goalkeeper to give him a quick, easy save so that he gets a feel of the ball. And Robeson's first attempt was with a hard shot.
How about Brian Trottier coming on at halftime, the great New York Islanders player. Believe me, he is a great player. Expressing his interest in this indoor game. A lot of similarities between the indoor soccer game and hockey. Same configuration, shot just goes wide to the left. It's a hockey configuration with an artificial surface put down on top of it.
And for those people that do follow hockey, you'll notice that the Russian teams play hockey in the off-season, and that's one thing that a lot of the NHL teams are starting to do with their players. I don't know if Trottier has played hockey before, but anytime you watch the Russian hockey players, they can use their feet so very well, and that comes from having played soccer.
In the off-season? Right. That's very interesting. They might be playing by themselves over there in those big arenas. As you look at Damir Sitevsky, number 22. That's Dave DeRico, number 2 for New York. Arrows moving right to left. They're in the bright blue and red uniforms. That's their colors. And the Steamers, neat colors on the Steamers. It's almost a magenta blue with a white top.
What is a magenta blue?
Well, glad you asked that, Kyle. Yeah,
I mean, I felt intimidated by that word, so I thought I would ask.
It's like a 3-syllable word. I don't really know it.
You can tell I haven't done my Reader's Digest 20 days to more word power.
And I'm going to have to start. DeRico directing traffic for New York. Telling Tuksha to move left. There's a shot, rebound off the board. Big play right out front. Here you see the Steamers coming out. Again, it has been a penalty-free game, Kyle, and that's important to the Steamers because they not only do not play well on the power play, they do not kill the penalties off very well.
No, and with a 6-goal margin that the Arrows currently possess, penalties would not add anything to them at all. I'm going to look up in our record book and see what the record is for the lowest number of penalties in a game and see if we might be approaching that.
You see Jungle, referee, indicating free kick. There's a shot right off, blocked by Bellinger.
Well, the least penalties for 2 teams was set last year by Cleveland and Houston. That was a total of 2. Cleveland several times last year, I remember from looking the other day, had 0 penalties in a game. But for both teams, the record is 2, and it indicates that the teams are trying to play competitively but play cleanly, which is a great way to have soccer played. Oh,
Steve Jungle beat Robeson, who came out and tried to cut the angle down. And Robeson was way out of goal, and Jungle just hit the corner of the goalpost. St. Louis changing on the fly. Here come the Steamers inside. Counts, turns, shot, hit the corner of the goalpost. Danny Counts, whom you met at halftime on our interviews, turned and fired. It hit the corner of the goalpost. Messing right wing distribution. Here come the Arrows. Luis Alberto to Damir Sitevsky. Jungle inside, leaves it for Harshani. Harshani, number 3, lays it off the boards. Look at inside the Arrows. Control, left-footed shot. Standing in the goal mouth, Tony Bellinger. You see Laszlo Harshani, number 3. The Steamers have not been playing at full strength. They've had a lot of injuries this year. And a lot of injuries, Kyle, pulled muscles. And, you know, that's a big transition to come and play the indoor game. That's something you get a lot of, you see right inside Julie B, finally cleared by Petcher, but the pull muscle in the indoor game is very much a factor.
Several possible reasons for that. One is, as is the case tonight, there's ice underneath this surface, which means that not only is the surface hard, but it's also a lot colder on the arena. And these players are playing in temperatures at the surface of probably 40 degrees. So that's one reason. And certainly shooting as many times as you do, you have a tendency to hurt your quadricep muscle. You see Petcher going into the penalty box now. And
well, we just broke that record, didn't we?
We did.
Glad to look that up, Kyle.
But for St. Louis, we might give a hello to Therese and Greg Mikowski. Greg, a great young player for this team who is out for the year with a knee injury that he had operated on.
That really hurt St. Louis, Kyle, because there's a guy, Mikowski, who came on to play really well for him.
He did, and had ligament damage last week and was just operated on. We wish him a very successful recovery.
Look at the battle out front. The light never goes on. That's the thing to watch for. That'll indicate a goal from the goal judge. The judge located, as you look at the picture, right to the left. You see Robeson right here. Now watch it again, Kyle.
Into the corner. Defender just trying to hold on to the ball. And as you said, it's the position of the ball, not the position of the player. The goal judge there, V, trying to knock the goalkeeper into the goal.
Give out 3 assists on the one goal.
So Petcher called for tripping. Has another minute and 37 seconds to go on his penalty. Each of these teams will have their man advantage teams and also their penalty killing teams. And as you had mentioned before, Terry, St. Louis has only been able to kill 25% of their penalties, which is easily the lowest in the league. I think the second lowest is about half. So they could be in trouble in this situation.
You look at some of the fans, professional indoor soccer, that's the New York Arrows. Shot by Carl Rose up over the side of the plexiglass. You know, you might also mention about pulled muscles, Kyle, to go back to that for a second. Arrows head coach Don Popovich, in his entire tenure as a coach, has probably not lost 2 players to a pulled muscle. He is one of the best, absolute best, at physical conditioning.
Well, there's one reason for that, and it's not only physical conditioning, but he has a trainer, Bob Baldwin, who, like a lot of trainers in soccer, has now sensed the importance of stretching. And all the Arrows players go through a routine of 20 to 25 minutes a day to stretch out the muscles before they do anything. And it's a pretty new concept to soccer. We're even seeing the soccer players now take ballet lessons in the off season, again, in the interest of trying to make them.
In college. I hope you don't think that's a...
No.
I flunked it. On the power play, the Arrows for another minute. Power play. The Arrows are devastating on the power play. The penalty is to Petcher, number 4 of St. Louis. He's in the box for another 40 seconds. Hershani, this is Jungle inside. Nice play. Arrows playing 5-on-4. Boxing up. Ukraini playing at the top. That's Carl Rose for St. Louis. Loose ball right out in front of the goal mouth. Arrows on top, 7-1. They're on a power play. 20 seconds remaining in the penalty. Jungle turns, fires. Bellinger finally clears out for St. Louis. Look where Messing is. He's way out of goal. Settles the ball. 9 seconds remaining in the penalty. This is Julie V. Pass, Hershani, shot, he scores. Power play goal to Laszlo Arshani with just 2 seconds remaining on the penalty to Steve Petcher.
There you see him, Arshani, on the replay. The ball will go to V in the corner. Here's the pass to V, unmarked. Arshani moves back to the middle, number 3. Takes the shot. The New York Arrows that have scored on 43% of their man advantage situations increase that percentage. St. Louis that allows goals on over 75% of the penalties called against them will increase that percentage, and the New York Arrows take an 8-1 lead.
Well, the Arrows are really dominant in the game tonight, but they're always dominant here at home. They're undefeated at home. They are not only undefeated, but they have scored, as I said, over 10 goals in every game that they've played in here at Nassau Coliseum. And Kyle, they're showing why they're the defending champions of this major indoor soccer league. Look at Segota. Segota, shot, save by Robeson. Wow. Segota just really showing his stuff. He's 18 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Bronco Segota's Jungle has been the tutor. Segota the student for the past couple of years. Well, that sure has changed around because Segota is now the leading scorer.
And it's the first time in Jungle's career that I've been able to research where he has not been the leading scorer on a team.
You know, that's an interesting stat. I bet that, you know, you're dead on with that other than maybe the first couple of games, whoever gets the first couple of goals, that Jungle has probably been the leading scorer ever since on any team he's ever played for. We'll give a lot of credit to head coach Don Popovich and owner John Luciani of the New York Arrows for jumping on Segota because they signed him when he was only 17 years old. This is Chilla. Jungle takes the shot. And, you know, it's like you said, Kyle, maybe it isn't so bad that the scoring is the way it is in the MISL. A goal and the assist at the same, you know, have the same point value, because now you see a guy like Jungle who undoubtedly, you know, gets paid on a performance basis like most athletes do, and maybe he doesn't. Regardless, the fact of the matter is he's able to take a young 18-year-old like Segota and really turn him into a great player.
And we're seeing even great play other teams that we've seen on the telecast this year, and we'll see later on. A team like Houston, teams that have experience, you're seeing players almost in front of the goal. Oh,
boy, Messing.
Very close. Gene Strenicher and Shep Messing.
You see the way he distributed the ball. I love Messing. What is that?
Jungle playing the ball between Romero's legs.
You believe? I mean, these guys, the Arrows, when they get ahead of somebody, look at Jungle. What a shot by Steve Jungle. You cannot give Jungle the right foot in an open area. There's no way.
Jungle and the Arrows going 3 against 4. The other Arrows clearing out the area so Jungle can go one-on-one. There he touches it with the outside of his foot. Hits it from only about 12 yards away. No chance. High up into the corner for Jungle's 30th goal of the year.
Now, you talk about clearing an area. It's like a basketball isolation when they pick and get guys out. The Arrows really work on that to get him some room, don't they? They get him a lot of room and they get him open.
Well, we've talked to several coaches this year that have used ice hockey manuals as one way to learn a little bit more about how to play indoor soccer, and certainly basketball, because of 3-on-2 situations that we've already seen this year. And even in tonight's game, St. Louis scoring on a 3-on-2 fast break. A lot of principles are the same.
You know, I detected something, Kyle. I picked my brother up at the airport when he came in. And I saw the St. Louis team get off the plane, and you could tell that in coming into coming into New York, the Steamers were a bit intimidated by this New York Arrows team.
Well, and as we've said so many times tonight, with all the injuries that they have, Mikowski, Ty Keogh not at full strength, Carl Rose not at full strength, Dan McDonald, Kevin Hanlon, Emilio John, Eric Delabar, all out, or at least their ability is mitigated by injuries that they've had this year. And the St. Louis team may have to trade. I don't know the St. Louis trainer, so I don't want to infer that he's a bad trainer, but certainly they might trade for the New York Arrows trainer and develop some of the stretching techniques, because that is a big factor.
I think it's everybody adapting to the indoor game and what has to be done to make this, the indoor game, adaptable to the players and keep them healthy. I tell you, if you can't keep your players healthy in the indoor game, then you're going to get hurt. Now look at the Arrows now. You're not even going to hear the same names on the field. See the guy on the top of your screen? That's Dougie Pollard. Pollard, Strenitzer, 13. That's Pollard, 14. You have Altrost, Valtuxian, Strenitzer. And what's amazing is the Arrows can go 3 lines deep and still put the pressure. Here's a shot, Messing, no trouble. Arrows trying to clear it out. Sam Bick sends it up into the upper deck. And we'll be back with more with the score. The Arrows 9 and the Steamers 1. 4:27 remaining in the...
I guess I'm lucky. I've got a Buick Riviera with front-wheel drive, air conditioning, almost every power assist you can think of. Standard. In fact, it's the most popular Riviera ever. Last year's S-Type, Motor Trend Magazine's Car of the Year. You know, in a way, I almost feel like I'm riding around with a celebrity.
Aw, thanks, honey.
Sure. See your Buick dealer today about buying or leasing a new Riviera.
Back at Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and this is American night here with a lot of the veterans on hand. As you see, the New York Arrows, champions of the Major Indoor Soccer League, with 3 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in this, the third quarter, on top of St. Louis, 9-1. Shot, rebound, comes right off Strenitzer. I've been calling him Strennature. I've been making that a, I was advised tonight, Kyle, it was Strennature.
Well, Gino, who has played here in America for many years, former citizen of Hungary, who is now a U.S. citizen.
Fan in the stands.
I guess has changed his pronunciation of his name as he changed his citizenship. That was a nice fan. Now, is that your date?
You're going to get me in trouble, Kyle. I'm telling you, before tonight's over.
But it's so nice to see a lot of women out here and young kids, too. Indoor soccer being a great family game.
Women really have, I mean, not to generalize or to get into any of that, but, you know, the female participants in the game has really shown in the fact that a number of women, in fact, show up in attendance. And they've been able to, one, take to the game because of they can understand the game. Two, they can relate to it by the fact that they play the game.
And also, they don't have to fight the husbands who are saying, gee, I've played this game. I know much more about than you do. We're all starting at pretty much the same place with indoor soccer.
Down on the ground, one of the Steamers players. Here's Carl Rose. He tried to give it inside. Kaliko was there. Arrows break out of their own zone with 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in this, the third quarter. Shot! Saved by Robeson. He distributes up on left wing. Strenitzer steps in. And you see Messing, who, with a lead like this, 9-1, forget about it. He is tough, as are the Arrows. You watch play, move on, comes clean out of the midfield area. Now Robeson.
We've got to say, really, congratulations to the whole St. Louis franchise for putting together such an entertaining package this year, and to the people in St. Louis who are watching tonight's game for supporting their team so very well. I know they're enjoying it, but it's a great thing to see a wonderful all-American city like St. Louis get out and support the team to the tune of several crowds in excess of 16,000 and one total sellout of 19,000, largest ever crowd at the Checker Dome in St. Louis.
And you know, Kyle, I not only born, but I grew up in St. Louis, and you know, I've seen the St. Louis fans take to a couple of events, but never have I seen such a phenomenon like the Steamers have come on in St. Louis. And again, when you reiterate those crowds of 18, 19,000, hey, that's a hot game, and it's the way that the indoor game has been designed, and St. Louis is probably proving out everybody and everything that we've said on all these telecasts, and that is this is a great game and a great league, the Major Indoor Soccer League. If there's a game in your area, go out and see it. This is Tibor Molnar. Molnar for New York. This is Strenitzer. Damir Satevsky, time running down, under a minute remaining in the third quarter. Pollard inside pass. And you see St. Louis again, Kyle. They fall into the defensive posture, trying to isolate one man up front.
Well, they are, and they're almost trying to cover by zone, which is extremely difficult to do in this game. Pollard there being wide open in the corner, getting in a position. Wow. Good heel pass.
What a pass by Satevsky. Nice shot by Doug Pollard. Pollard took the shot. This is Tibor Molnar inside. Great play by Robeson. He comes up big for St. Louis.
You were looking at Chet Messing's hands at halftime, taped up the way they are.
Isn't that amazing?
That's why players have to do that. You get in those situations where you're wedged between the board and players, and people are kicking at the ball.
Yeah, but Kyle, it's taped, and he still wears gloves.
Yeah.
And those gloves are pretty thick, too. We talked about that last week, how they have the rubberized inside. They're almost suction cups.
Well, with all the injuries that we've seen to the hands of goalkeepers this year, just off the top of my head, Keith Van Aaron of Wichita, Gary Allison just came off another injury, and it's extremely difficult. It's a hazardous profession. I wouldn't want to write the insurance for the goalkeepers in this league.
That's the end of the third quarter. The New York Arrows on top of the St. Louis Steamers, 9-1.
Greenwich Village. It has a chemistry all its own, just like every other New York village, and town, and neighborhood. From the Long Island Expressway to the Coney Island Expressway. from East Chester to East 14th Street in Brooklyn. And the Chemical Bank branches there are part of that chemistry. Chemical branch managers make sure of that. In Grand Central Station, that means creating a chemical branch a commuter can relate to, with hours that are right on track. Well, in our Huntington branch, it means giving a commuter's family something that they can relate to, a ballet. It means that every year in Harlem, one of our customers makes a deposit that gets a lot of interest. He cooks lunch for the entire staff. So the chemistry's so right, you can almost taste it.
There's a notion afoot that the boxier a car is, the more sense it makes.
Now, it seems like Buick and a whole lot of Regal owners disagree.
Instead of making the Regal look like a European jogging shoe, they made it crisp and clean.
Instead of making it austere, they made it luxurious.
And instead of underpowering it, they gave it an efficient V6 engine.
Buick Regal. Proof that intelligence doesn't always come in a box.
Regal. Buy or lease one at your Buick dealer now.
I'd like to talk to you about the Sony Betamax and an incredible feature called Beta Scan. I'm Tom Williams Sr., and if you know tennis, you know my son. Here's a cassette of his last championship match. Beta Scan lets me go fast forward and reverse, so I can skip the boring stuff like this long rally and stop when I come to the real exciting parts, like Tom Jr. here dashing onto the court to pick up the ball. Isn't Betamax terrific? It lets you see what you've been missing and miss what you don't want to see. It's from Sony, the one and only.
Two of the finest records in the NHL.
Back at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, you look at a good portion of the activity going on here tonight. There's some upcoming games around the MISL here at Nassau Coliseum. The Arrows play on Wednesday night against the Hartford Hellions. The Steamers also play on Wednesday, January 23rd in the Checker Dome in St. Louis against the Buffalo Stallions. As you look at Pat McBride and his St. Louis Steamers. Goaltending change for the New York Arrows. That's number 18, Enzo DePede. Looks a lot like Shep Messing. I think he wears every other uniform of Shep's. There's a change for the keeper for St. Louis. He came in at the halftime. That's Bobby Robeson.
We had mentioned Shep last week in New York with that the colors of Princeton. He changed his jersey tonight and told me before the game that he didn't want to hear any more about him supporting Princeton in lieu of Harvard. And
can you tell that this WPIX crew has a feel for the stands and the fans in the stands? Boy, they find every.
They haven't found all the attractive ladies because there are a couple more right behind us. I can see that. We might mention that Shep Messing leaving the game after 3 quarters, allowing only 1 goal. That's going to lower his goals against average, which currently leaves him at 5.96 average goals per game, and that's going to throw him way down. And if the Arrows continue to dominate this game and go on to win, that'll push his record to 9-3 while he's in the nets, which will give him a 75% winning percentage.
You know, Kyle, there was some question as you watch the Arrows. They're moving left to right. The Steamers in a light blue with a white top. There was some question last year as to whether it was just a form of favoritism when they named Shep Messing the most valuable player and named him #1 keeper in the MISL. He was the MVP in the playoffs, but the #1 keeper on the All-Star team. There's Keogh, a shot to Payday save. Loose ball out front. But I tell you, Shep Messing is absolutely the premier goalkeeper in the Indoor Soccer League because of his mobility on the line.
Well, I would not at all argue with his MVP last year in the playoffs, but I normally think of goalkeeper awards as being for the whole defense, and for that reason, I would have voted for Paul Hammond, who led the league last year in goals against average. Of course, he's a teammate of mine, so that has something to do with it too. Shots in the game, the New York Arrows have had 47. Steamers only 23, and the Steamers, who in the last 3 games have averaged about 80 shots a game, are well under their recent average anyway.
And you know, that just reiterates what you just said about the whole defense is the fact that when the defense plays well, the keeper plays well, and that's what New York has done so well so far. They're ahead 9-1. The Arrows, defending champions of the MISL, and DePede goes to the ground. St. Louis coming on strong in the 4th quarter. Believe me, fans, when I tell you that no one is ever out of an indoor soccer game that I've ever seen. No matter, I saw Houston down here at Nassau Coliseum 7-2. and came back, and with a minute left to go in that game, the score was 8-7. They eventually lost the game, but the Steamers with DePayday, as you look at Enzo DePayday, the new keeper for the New York Arrows, Messing, goes to the bench after playing 3 superb quarters. Matter of fact, I can remember a game we did where Pittsburgh once scored 8 goals in 1 quarter. That's exactly what the Steamers would have to do to get back into this game. They trail 9-1. 12 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Kelly for St. Louis. Steamers coming around. Robeson handles the ball easily. Robeson gives it up on right wing to Danny Counts. Free kick.
One of the nice things about the St. Louis team that assistant coach Danny Counts mentioned in that halftime interview that you saw was that St. Louis is building for the future, and they believe in the American players, and as we've said many times as well, this is one game where the American player gets a lot of experience, gets a lot of stress play, and the goalkeeper and the coach for the U.S. national team, Walt Chisowich, has said he wants his players playing indoor because he knows they're going to become better after the season is over.
And the Arrows exemplify that. Look at these New York Arrows right out front. There was Julie V. Finally cleared by St. Louis. This is Tony Graham, number 11. The
Possible
Steamers
3-on-2 for St. Louis. If he can get the ball across, he does.
wide open on the right side. Kelly takes the shot. Rebound by Counts. Settles again. Kelly shot just wide. He had Enzo DePayday on his back. And, you know, that's a very important thing as you look.
And we're going to get a 2-minute penalty on Harshani for delay of game. Only the second penalty tonight.
Explain that, Kyle, what the delay of game call is.
Well, there we see Harshani walking over. Our referee, number 14, Hans Schwenk, tonight, calling a 2-minute delay of game penalty, which means that with pressure in the attacking zone, the defender kicks the ball over the restraining wall in order to relieve the pressure. It's a judgment call by the referee, but it's pretty clear that with the skill that Harshani has, he was merely trying to get there. We got a good look at him. Defected from Hungary in 1975. He'll spend 2 minutes, and we'll see if St. Louis can take advantage of the man advantage that they'll have for the next 2 minutes in the same way that New York did in the 3rd quarter.
All right, Kyle, I'm going to ask you as the play moves on here to set how a power play is supposed to be attacked by a team when you have the man advantage and what you look for.
Well, each team has their man advantage group, and St. Louis has theirs on the field. You're trying to get an open situation like that where you're forcing 4 defenders to match up, and here's New York on a fast break.
It's Damir Satevsky showing great skill. Satevsky still comes away with the ball. It's a handball call. But anyway, you look for the man advantage out front.
And you're trying to get the defenders to overload to one area and change the ball, because the ball can move much faster than players can. And so you'll see the ball to go to one side as it does here. Inside a heel. And
now, defensively, you try, everybody plays a 4-man box. You come out and try and cut the ball off at the top of this box.
Well, not all the teams. There's
shot
a great
by
goal.
Tony Graham as Petcher was right out in front of Enzo DePayday. As Kyle was explaining how the defense plays, Tony Graham played the ball beautifully for St. Louis. And Tony Graham scores a power play goal.
Here we'll see it again, a hard shot from outside. Not a good angle, but and it was number 4, Steve Petcher, was right there for the deflection. I don't think he touched it, but still, DePayday was screened by Tuksha. And similar to what we see in ice hockey, many times with an attacker right in front of the goalkeeper, he can't see the shot, and apparently that was the case on Tony Graham's goal.
That's Tony Graham's 6th goal.
And so New York, the team that leads this league in penalty killing, doesn't kill that one. And St. Louis, the team that is the worst in the league in scoring on man advantage situations, scores there.
You know, this might be a tactical error on New York's part. You take Messing out. In St. Louis, for some reason, I don't know what it is, Kyle. I've watched a number of their games. Until they're trailing, they don't play. I don't know. It's unbelievable. Look at Cuenca. Manny Cuenca turns, fires. Settled. St. Louis playing with much more authority in this, the 4th quarter. And let's see if they can get back in the game as they trail 9-2. There's a shot. Boy, did you see that shot by Petcher? Steve Petcher, and there was a nice article in the St. Louis papers about Mr. Petcher bringing his fans out with their blue flags here in New York. Enzo DePede. They haven't come to the flag or the terrible towel. But look at St. Louis here. You see how they anticipate Cuenca back, helping out the Steamers very much, playing very well. Here's another 3-on-2. Petcher down low, takes the shot right over all the offensive men's head. There's Cuenca down low. Arrows tough at home. Undefeated so far. They have scored over 10 goals in every game at home. As you look at Damir Satevsky.
You mentioned Petcher, who is captain of the U.S. national team. That may be one reason why St. Louis is leading the league in attendance. His family is so large, Derek. By signing Petcher to St. Louis, they almost ensured sellouts this year.
There's Coleco,
Oh.
Pete Coleco. Wow. The Arrows giving up, as they usually do, a mental deficit when they fall back into a defensive posture. And here they go into a defensive posture.
It doesn't look like a very difficult situation. Turns inside, the outside of his foot, the same way. That's his second goal of the night. The same way that we saw Jungle score a minute ago. Got the defender moving the wrong way, touched it with the outside of his foot. Pete Coleco, his second goal of the night.
Well, the Arrows lead cut to 9-3. His second goal of the evening, his second goal of the season. Arrows, and they have had their second troop, third lines. You see the score, New York 9, St. Louis 3. Now Jungle comes back out on the field as Arrows head coach Don Popovich, I'm sure, showing a little concern. Oh, Pesa nearly had a 2-on-1 break, and he couldn't find the handle on the ball. Luis Alberto. A lot more chances now. Here's Sam Bick. Big shot, great save by DePede. Did you see DePede stick his right hand over his left shoulder to make that big save? Fakes the shot. That's Tony Graham. Graham battles Luis Alberto off the ball. St. Louis, for some reason, the Steamers play exceptionally well when they trail for some reason.
Well,
I mean, they've gotten into games. I can't believe they've been totally out of games and made them exciting by hustling back.
You'd love to think that the reason for that is with so many Americans and in a sense, carrying the flag of the American player in this league, even with as many American players as we have. It's that never give up attitude, and Pat McBride was that kind of player when he played for 10 years for St. Louis, and it's very easy to see that he's instilled that in his players.
You see the St. Louis Steamers now stepping in and intercepting passes. You see Tony Graham. This is Graham for St. Louis Steamers. Wearing the white tops with the magenta. Is that right? The right kind of blue, Kyle?
I'll call it sky blue. Which I can only say those three-letter words, so sky blue for me.
Steamers will have, and this is what at the halftime interview you listen to Shep Messing talk about how he defends against the corner kick. There it was right there, and DePede was at the near post.
Ball being played back to Diego Pesa, Ulster County Community College, the #1 draft choice in the outdoor league this last year.
This is Dave DeRico for New York. #2 DeRico to 8 Luis Alberto. Al Trost, #12. Petcher oversteps the ball. Shot by Jungle. What a shot off the left foot by Jungle. That's Luis Alberto. Petcher had the pass intercepted, and he just overstepped the ball. Here come the Arrows. Arrows, when they attack, are unstoppable. When they fall back and play defense, they tend to go into a lapse a lot of time. They are definitely an offensive-orientated team. Al Trost for New York. This is Luis Alberto. To Renato Chilla. Chilla inside. Trost tried to give it back. Ball went up over the top. St. Louis puts the ball back into play. They trail 9-3, 6 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
Back in action for New York, number 5, Ray Bigliotti.
You see the Steamers in control. That's Tony Graham, intercepted by Luis Alberto. Here come the Arrows. They have a 3-on-1 break. Off the boards, there's Jungle right out front. Oh, what a save by Robson. Jungle with the open net.
Just
Great
couldn't get enough of
a
great pass. There you see even some of the New York substitutes, when they get in the position, they know where Stevie Jungle is. Played it off the boards. Jungle had the ball right at his feet. And for one of the few times that I've ever seen Steve Jungle miss a goal like that.
Whoa, another goal. He didn't score all season long, and Kaliko's come in and gotten a hat trick tonight. Third goal by Pete Kaliko for St. Louis. The hat trick. Watch it again, Kyle, and he's hit it at nearly impossible angles every time.
It's almost the same place that he scored his first goal, into the upper corner, and he's towing the ball. He's really not winding up, and when you tow the ball, you don't really know where it's going to go. At least you can't, as a defender, you can't predict where it's going to go. And from that distance, only 5 yards away, the goalkeeper really has no time to react to the shot.
Third goal of the year, third goal of the night, brings St. Louis closer and closer, and this is the fourth quarter, with 6 minutes and 15 seconds remaining.
Well, they scored 3 unanswered goals, and New York has just put their #1 attacking team back on the field.
Play in the midfield area. You see now New York taking a little more concern about what's going on the playing field. Messing went out at the end of the third quarter. He allowed only 1 goal. Enzo DePede, who a lot of times has the unfortunate position as a backup, as you look at Enzo, backup keeper coming in. When 1, you're either up by a lot of goals, or 2, you're down by a lot of goals. Or an injury forces Messing out. Here come the Steamers again. This is Ty Keogh. Keogh's got Kelly on the run. Keogh's shot partially blocked by Laszlo Arshani. 3 unanswered goals by the St. Louis Steamers has brought them back to 9-4, as the Arrows showed total dominance early. This is Arshani. Tony Graham.
New player for the New York Arrows, Vigliotti, who I believe played at South Carolina.
Right.
And having done a few clinics down in that part of the country, it's wonderful to see a representative from that area playing professional soccer.
That's Julie V. V for New York. Time winding down as Julie V makes a move inside. Shot, save, Robeson got the right hand on it. Big save by Bobby Robeson for St. Louis. We remind our New York viewers, stay tuned for Action News immediately following tonight's game.
There we can see the dotted line on the side where the ball is placed after it goes over the outside. There it is again, the dotted line. Get a free indirect kick from that point to put the ball back into play. Indirect meaning that the ball must touch another player before it goes in the goal.
An assist was added, Kyle, on that last goal to Tony Bellinger, number 6 of St. Louis, on Kaliko's goal. His 3rd goal, Kaliko of the game. 3rd goal of the season for Kaliko. 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Jungle goes one-on-one move. Nice play. Look at St. Louis. Boy, they're playing so much better in this fourth quarter, Kyle. They're turning, moving very well, and pressuring the ball up front. They were definitely into their offensive zone more in the fourth quarter than they were all other 3 quarters combined.
There we saw Pesa called for a foul, kicking Harshani. That's something Pesa had not done in the first half. Can't say he was playing lackadaisically, but with the injuries that he's had, probably trying to save himself a little bit more. But when you get to this point and you're only down 9-4 and you've scored 3 unanswered goals, you realize that you're back in the game, because we've still got another 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
I'm sure to a lot of folks, Kyle, they wonder, how do you get, but last week, what do we saw? 3-4 goals in a matter of, I guess the record's 2 goals in 7 seconds.
Right.
3 goals in a shorter period of time.
But that's also 2 goals by 1 player in 7 seconds.
That's amazing.
And the league record, I believe, is 2 goals in 6 seconds by 2 different players.
Here's a shot right out front. New York on the attack. Petcher goes down hard to the ground on a leg by Urshani.
Petcher there holding up 2 fingers. He's not giving sign language to the referee, other than he's saying, why not a 2-minute penalty? We need that man advantage if we're going to get back in this game.
Arrows, defending champions of the Major Indoor Soccer League, undefeated at home here at Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, are 1 goal shy of what they have done consistently all year long, and that is scored 10 goals at least in every home game. Indoor soccer, it's the Major Indoor Soccer League. The defending champion, New York Arrows, on top of the St. Louis Steamers. Whoa, inside again. I don't believe it. I think he just got his 4th goal. He did. Tony Graham. No, it wasn't. I thought it was Coleco again when I first saw it.
I believe it was. I think Graham hit the ball off Coleco. Coleco goes in for the deflection. Here we see Graham hitting the ball. I believe it deflected off Coleco. That's his 4th goal of the night if it is. We'll see what the official score says.
Whatever the outcome, Steamers have closed the goal. They gave it to Tony Graham. But I think Coleco hit that ball. We should show everyone that goal again, at least the scores. We'll be back in a moment with more MISL action. The score to New York Arrows 9, the St. Louis Steamers 5. If Coleco didn't get the goal and Tony Graham did, then we should talk, Kyle, at least to the official scores, because really that was Coleco's goal all the way. As Tony Graham hit the free kick, Coleco, at least it looked like it bounced off his chest.
This is reminiscent of the classical Pittsburgh Steeler Houston Oiler argument about the touchdown. We have the advantage of replay. They do not.
Oh, here's Jungle. Wow, what a play by Robeson.
Robeson having to go out with his legs outside the area, because had he touched it with his hands, it would have been a direct free kick foul. Jungle being left all alone, giving St. Louis a man advantage. But if they can get the ball back to Jungle, if he is okay, New York on a 2-on-1 fast break. Jungle, he's got it.
There's Jungle down low. Jungle takes a shot, fakes once, takes it again. There's Satevsky. And as Kyle was telling you, Jungle, when he went down, just stayed right where he was.
I think he's still hurt. He's holding his knee, but for a player like Jungle, when you get a chance to score a goal, you go through the pain of an injury.
The score, the New York Arrows 9, the St. Louis Steamers 5. We hope everyone's enjoying our Major Indoor Soccer League action tonight.
But I also hope they will accept my apology for the voice, and I'll get myself healthy for next week.
You're hurting, Kyle. You're really hurting with the voice. I'm glad. I hate to say it, Kyle, but you know, for the past 2 weeks, I've been dying with those voices myself. Robeson, who unfortunately at the beginning of the second half really hadn't handled the ball and gave up an easy goal, and the Arrows then had a patent lead. But 4 unanswered goals by the Steamers has brought them back within 4 goals, 9-5. But time is running down. Shot! Damir Satevsky for New York just gets a hat trick. And you can only hold the Arrows so long. The defending champions have done it again, scored their 10th goal at home.
St. Louis pushing up. They get in a 2-on-1. Satevsky, I thought he was going to make the pass across. The defender did not come to him. He beats Robeson to the far post, just inside. A great shot, kept it low. Satevsky, the hat trick.
Damir Satevsky, who is one of the reasons that this indoor soccer New York Arrows, defending champions, are so potent, is because they are so deep with strength. And again, New York keeps that streak alive, showing just how potent they are. They have just scored their 10th goal of tonight's game, and they have scored 10 goals in every game that they have played here at Nassau Coliseum.
Satevsky, who came into the game tonight as the league's 10th leading scorer, that will push him up. Probably puts him the 6th leading scorer in the league now, I believe, something like that.
Satevsky's 13th goal.
So that means New York now has the top 1, 2, 6th, and 7th leading scorers.
That's
in
like
the Atlantic
St. Louis's
Division.
home crowd. They have the 1,
That's
2.
right.
Of course, New York has the top scorers in there. Well, the Steamers are going to leave New York, return home. They play at the Checker Dome against Buffalo. A great team, Buffalo. Go out and see them at the Checker Dome on Wednesday night. Arrows are going to remain in town. They're going to play the Hartford Hellions at Nassau Coliseum on Wednesday night. You see now the Steamers pressuring.
Here we
Here's
go
Luis
again.
Alberto, under a minute, 40 seconds remaining. Arrows on a breakaway, out front, Juggalo, he hit the crossbar again. They always like to give it, hey, these are unselfish players, these New York Arrows.
Yes, they are. There we see the referee take something off the field that a fan had thrown on, and as a player, I know that it is so dangerous. You can lose a knee so quickly. So if you ever go to any of these games, please don't do what that fan did.
Oh, what a great play out front. Finally pushed away by Tony Graham. And it looks like it might end this way, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Arrows have scored 10 goals tonight. The St. Louis Steamers came back, put on a valiant effort in the fourth quarter, scoring 4 unanswered goals before New York finally put their 10th goal on the board. But Kyle, again, New York showing why they are the absolute class of the Indoor Soccer League.
They're just going to outscore everybody, and with all the...
You know, they might give up a lot of goals, but they certainly score a lot of goals.
But that entertains the fans, too. That's part of the excitement of indoor soccer, is lots of shots, lots of goals, and the New York team that will become 6-0 tonight with this here at home at the Nassau Veterans Coliseum.
And the Arrows are going to remain undefeated. Remind our New York fans to stay tuned for action news immediately following tonight's game. As the horn goes off, and the New York Arrows, you look at Enzo DePede walking across the field. The New York Arrows remain undefeated at Nassau Coliseum and defeat the St. Louis Steamers by a score of 10-5. We'll be back to wrap up tonight's game right after this.
And this is where we keep the Sony.
This is my wife, these are my kids, this is my Sony.
The difference between you and me, Perkins, is that you own a television and I own a Sony.
There's one television people are proud enough of to brag about. The only television with the patented one-gun, one-lens system that won an Emmy. There's only one Trinitron, and it's from Sony, the one and only.
I think Henry's getting serious. Last night he gave me a Sony.
Buick introduces the 1980s Century sedan, our little limousine, a brand new Century filled with room, comfort, and elegance, powered by a responsive and efficient 3.8-liter V6 engine. A Century which by all appearances looks as though it should cost a small fortune, but which in truth does not.
Where to, folks?
Home, Jimmy.
Right, wow.
Buick's little limousine. Buy or lease one at your Buick dealer now.
This Bud's for everybody who puts in a hard day's work.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
New York Arrows remain undefeated at Nassau Coliseum, and the Arrows are super tough at home because they score, once again, 10 goals. And Kyle, Steamers came out they try to fall into a defensive posture. You can't do that here against the Arrows.
Not very well, and we have to, again, as we said during the show, admit that St. Louis is greatly limited because they've had so many injuries. Kaleko playing a great game tonight for them with a hat trick, but New York having hat tricks from Segota and Sutevsky. Jungle not really dominating the game the way we've seen him in the past, but the depth of this New York Arrows team is just incredible. And if Jungle doesn't do it, Segota will, and if Segota doesn't do it, Sutevsky will, and if Sutevsky doesn't do it, then Julie V will do it, and you can just go on down the line. So they've built, in a sense, a dynasty in 2 years, and every team guns for New York, not just because they're in New York, but because they're playing so very well.
And when you watch the New York Arrows, you realize one thing, that the Arrows are the absolute class of the league. They go out and they represent the league because they are, in fact, in New York. And when you're in New York, you hold your head up and say, hey, we're the New York team. We have to set the tempo for this league, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Right. Well, and even though Houston, with, I believe, a 10-2 record, leads the league stats, I think most teams would still think if we can beat any team in the league, we would prefer to beat New York for those reasons that you've just elucidated. So New York, I guess, with the second best record in the league now, a full game advantage over Philadelphia. St. Louis still only 2 games out of a playoff position, and we've got a long ways to go before this MISL season is over.
Well, for Kyle Rowe Jr., I'm Terry Lewicki, bidding everyone a very pleasant good evening. Final score from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum: the New York Arrows 10, the St. Louis Steamers 5.